Hello and thank you for joining us in a brand new video. Today we have an exciting unboxing of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus 5G Global Edition. So let's go ahead and get started. With all the devices in the Xiaomi series, I always need to clarify that this is the Global Edition. Xiaomi sells another version in China and sometimes other distributors import that version to our countries and distribute them as well. So it's important to be aware of that distinction. If you purchase the Chinese version, it may have a different battery and possibly a different camera. Therefore, in this particular video, I won't be making a comparison between the Chinese version and the global version. Instead, our focus will solely be on this specific version. The launch price for this version in Mexico, or at the very least at the time when I am recording this video, is set at 10,999 pesos. You can see this information displayed here on the screen, including its respective conversion into dollars. However, keep in mind that the prices here differ from those over there. How about you join me as we open this box to discover what's inside together? From the outside, we're already getting hints like the battery and the charger. But, of course, there's nothing quite like seeing it all firsthand. Let's carefully take out this small envelope, which I believe contains the tool for removing the tray. It's something we're already familiar with. After that, we come across the usual little pieces of paper scattered around here. And then we have the case. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. As you can see, it's completely opaque and fully flexible, featuring semi-rigid edges. These edges will defend the device effectively, even though they completely ruin the design. That is, considered that this will be the design of your cell phone if you decide to use it with a case. However, this isn't too bad, because you must remember that transparent cases eventually turn yellow. I personally prefer using cell phones without a case, but I'll share the pros and cons of each option. Let's unbox the cell phone to get familiar with it. Here are some specs and highlights that I believe could be competitive. Let's take it out of this bag and remove the sticker on the back, please. That's it. As the device powers up, let's see what else is in the box, because fortunately, they include both the charger and cable, which is great. Also nice is that the charger is quite powerful. It's a 100 watts charger. However, I wish it had USB-C on both sides instead of USB-A for a more modern experience. Well, you can't do everything in life, so let me tell you about the pros and cons of everything I'm considering. As you can see, the cable does come with these inner sides in orange, making them easy to distinguish. I remind you, as always, that it's important to use the original cable if you want to enjoy the maximum charging power with this charger. So that's everything that comes in the box. Honestly, the experience has been quite good because it includes a case and a charger. Additionally, I believe that at the Xiaomi store, they offer you a variety of items when you make a purchase. So you might also receive a speaker along with other accessories. I think that when you consider the entire package, the price may become somewhat more competitive. But how about we put everything back and now shift our focus to the cell phone? We have the device set up and ready to check its specs. Let's begin with the design. The standard versions are 8 or 19 millimeters thick, but this mocha brown version is 8 or 7 millimeters thick. It's slightly thicker due to the soft touch faux leather back cover, which is nice both aesthetically and to the touch. We discovered that this version weighs 208 grams, while the other versions weigh nearly 1 gram less. Regarding resistance, it includes IP68, 69, and 69K, and on the front, protected with Gorilla Glass Victus 2. So the manufacturer in the whole series promises a lot of resistance. In this case, I find it a positive thing to see the good water resistance it has and the good front protection it has for the screen. However, what I would have liked to be even more sure of the resistance would have been to see metal frames, because in this case, it is plastic frame. That looks thick. It does not look like it will break so easily. But hey, feel free to let me know in the comments if you're interested in us conducting an endurance test with this device. The screen measures 6.83 inches. It's quite large, an increase in size from the previous generation, and the resolution is 2772 by 1280 pixels. So we're discussing a screen that's larger than Full HD. Some people refer to it as 4K super detailed with 120 Hz refresh rate and a peak brightness of 3200 nits. We are discussing a display that is exceptionally bright, and the manufacturer assures us it has a color depth of 12 bits. No matter how you view it, I believe it's an excellent quality display. Additionally, it features stereo sound, with a speaker located at the bottom and another one positioned at the top area, within the earpiece for calls, with a secondary output near the initial impression frame. To me, the sound appears quite basic, lacking in bass frequencies, and even though there is an option for 400% volume, only the mid-high frequencies come up. and honestly the sound is somewhat annoying. It can become quite loud, yet I don't believe that is its primary argument for competition. The front camera features a 32 megapixel resolution with an f2.2 aperture and fixed focus. Now, here you can see an example of the preview before capturing the picture and after taking it, allowing you to observe that it indeed applies optimization for highlights and shadows. The detail level appears to be, well, even though the color rendition doesn't appear to be the most advanced or anything particularly exceptional to me, we'll conduct a more detailed and thorough analysis at a later time. Later. On the back, we're observing just two cameras, despite it having 4 circles. Here, we have the 8 megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera featuring an f2.2 aperture and fixed focus, alongside the 200 megapixel main camera, which includes an f1.7 aperture and optical stabilization. As you can see, there's no telephoto camera, although they opted for the 200 megapixel sensor, which might significantly aid in close-range zooming. However, the reality is that it appears to be a somewhat uncompetitive system. But let's go over some results as we usually do. Here you can see the ultra-wide-angle camera, which, in general terms, I find acceptable in photography. The main camera, of course, enhances the details, even though it has a focus, shall we say, is quite accurate. Then, when you consider the 2x crop, it provides us with a perspective of 46mm, while still keeping the optical quality intact, thanks to the inclusion of the 200 megapixel sensor. The same applies to the 92mm perspective, which represents a 4x zoom, still more or less preserving the optical quality. The truth is, you will notice good detail, so up to 4x, we maintain a very good quality zoom. Now you're viewing the picture with 10x digital zoom, and I think you can already tell it's digital zoom. That's why I'm telling you that this 200 megapixel sensor can help. But for the medium distance zoom, we would already require a telephoto camera, which in this case is not built in, and even so the device lets you go up to 20 or 30x. But I think they are already two forced scenarios. But perhaps the most disappointing point for some is the video recording, as he notes that the ultra-wide camera cannot record at 4K. In fact, the front camera also can't, recording in 4K, and I think that is something that should already have it in this price range. But obviously you can only record in 4K with the main camera, and the zoom in the video recording stays only at 6x. It's basic within software. This device includes HyperOS 2.0, with the promise of upgrading to HyperOS 3.0 for the time being. The update remains unavailable. Honestly, we all recognize that Xiaomi has several areas for improvement in software. Anyway, to wrap up, the device comes with 12 GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 512 GB of storage. Even though UFS 2.2 isn't the quickest storage out there, nor is the RAM the fastest we've encountered, both offer quite impressive capacity. All this is with the Snapdragon 7 processor. It's the Gen 4, and for those interested in numbers, here are the results. In Geekbench, it scored 1,243 points in single-core and 3,227 points in multi-core. Meanwhile, in Antutu, it scored 16,61,746 points. So, it isn't the most powerful processor or anything similar. At least it only discharged 4% of the battery in this test, so I think it could be competitive there. But of course, we will do much deeper tests for the video review. Since this has been a first unboxing approach, for now we have come to the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can point it out, and we'll see you next time.